This boy was a candidate for the national team, known as the strongest middle school skateboarder. However, he was always seen wearing cat-themed clothing. Despite his extraordinary skills, this cat boy had no friends. Now, he was about to face off against a total beginner, someone who was skateboarding for the first time. When the race began, Snow immediately performed a flip off the slope, showing off his skills. In fact, he was a seasoned skier with 15 years of experience. In an instant, Snow overtook MIYA, who was leading. Moreover, Snow was using an upgraded board, designed by his friend Reki, with wheels that could move left and right. No matter how Snow twisted and turned while cornering, the resistance was much lower. However, this new setup could cause problems for someone without experience, as it would make it hard for them to maintain a straight line. But Snow, with his 15 years of skiing background, found it easy to handle. Meanwhile, Reki, eager to watch the race, had driven up to join them. MIYA thought Reki was there to cheer Snow on. This reminded him of his old friends, as MIYA had great skateboard talent. But when his friends accused Reki of calling them slime in a condescending manner, MIYA tried to explain but was no longer believed. So, now, MIYA harbored a deep resentment and was determined not to lose to Snow, who had friends. In a burst of speed, MIYA overtook Snow. But Snow did not slack off and continued to observe everything around him, looking for opportunities. When Snow saw a tree on the corner, he immediately accelerated and used the tree to rebound, launching himself out of the turn. Refusing to lose, MIYA began to show off his special skills. He turned his board sideways and leaned it against the inside of the curve, just like how one would take a curve in a drainage ditch. They reached the final part of the race, an abandoned warehouse. MIYA, having learned from Snow's previous tricks, stayed right behind Snow to block him. He didn't want Snow to take a shortcut, so he stayed close, preventing Snow from making any sudden moves. As the finish line approached, MIYA was sure he would win. But suddenly, Snow began to accelerate again. MIYA tried to force Snow to stop, but to his surprise, Snow jumped onto a broken railing. His performance stunned everyone as they watched Snow pass MIYA. MIYA, although trying his best to catch up, was left behind, and Snow reached the finish line first. MIYA, who had lost the race, was no longer proud. He remembered the friends he used to have, but as he became stronger, they all left him. Yet Snow, without any ill feelings, said that he hoped to skate with MIYA more in the future. Reki also expressed his willingness to be friends with MIYA. But just then, a figure stepped out from the crowd. It was Adam, a legendary figure in the skateboarding world, a godlike presence in the eyes of enthusiasts. Not only was he considered an impossible-to-defeat champion, but he was also the founder of the racecourse. Adam had never lost, and now, he wasn't satisfied with the joy of winning. He preferred to break his opponents while by mocking them. When Adam appeared on the scene after MIYA's loss, he immediately mocked MIYA for his lack of friends, ridiculing his defeat. Reki, unable to tolerate this, confidently challenged Adam to a duel. Everyone assumed Adam would win without question. Adam, though, didn't need to engage with someone like Reki, but he made an offer. If he won, Snow would have to face him in a match. To everyone's surprise, Snow immediately agreed, knowing that if he didn't support Reki, no one would stand by their side. Although the race was set for the next day, they had no idea how to beat Adam. Just when they were starting to lose hope, MIYA suddenly appeared behind them. He thought that Reki had decided to race because of him, but MIYA too felt that they stood no chance against Adam. MIYA remembered the days when Adam coached him. He recalled how Adam had made just a small adjustment, moving his foot forward by 2 centimeters, and that changed MIYA's skateboarding technique drastically. Every piece of advice Adam gave was perfectly accurate. MIYA decided to help Reki by teaching him how to navigate the drainage ditch turns, even though he knew it would only slightly improve their chances. Reki, lacking natural talent, had failed twice